A beekeeper named Adam becomes a wanted man after being responsible for 2 explosions in the city. As 2 FBI agents discover his next target, they get permission from their boss to take down the beekeeper with an elite SWAT team. However, as the special agents arrive at Adam's next target, he interrupts their briefing and boldly says he'll hurt anyone who tries to stop him. A few weeks earlier, Adam helps his landlord Eloise with clearing out the beehive in her storeroom. After he's done, Eloise thanks him for helping, but he also thanks her for being so kind to him since he has been staying on her property. As he adds that no one has ever taken care of him like Eloise, she invites him for dinner later that night, and he accepts.
Come back at supper time, let me feed you.
Shortly after, Eloise heads back inside to continue working on her laptop. While she's at it, she suddenly gets an alert saying she's at risk of losing all the files on her computer. This leaves her confused, but it turns out that the message was sent from a call center run by a man named Mickey, who encourages his employees to make sure they successfully steal all the money in the charity account Eloise is managing. Unfortunately, Mickey succeeds in his plan, and Eloise is left devastated, so she takes her own life. Later that night, Adam brings a jar of honey with him to Eloise's house. However, when he arrives, Eloise doesn't answer the door, and Adam hears the smoke alarm ringing. He then enters and sees a gun on the floor next to a small drop of blood. Before he can react, an FBI agent named Verona shows up behind him and arrests him. Adam then realizes that Verona is Eloise's daughter, but despite his attempts to convince her that he had nothing to do with Eloise's death, she doesn't listen to him. After a while, she then asks Adam a few questions about how he knows Eloise. Adam says Eloise rented a space on her property to him and that he's a beekeeper who was only bringing Eloise some honey that night.
How do you know my mother?
Verona still doesn't believe he's innocent, but as she finally receives the result of the prints on the murder weapon, she discovers that Eloise took her own life. This leaves her shocked, but as she then checks her mom's laptop, she notices that all her accounts were cleared out before she killed herself. Adam also gets released, and as he's back on the property, Verona apologizes to him for how she acted earlier. He says what she did was understandable and that he doesn't hold it against her. After she then invites him to the house, Verona tells Adam that her mom was the victim of a phishing scam. Adam asks if she knows who did it, but Verona says that according to her friends in cybercrimes, the organization is currently untraceable. Following this, Adam leaves the house, saying he needs to protect the hive.
I need to take care of the hive.
As he then checks his beehive, he brings out a hidden SAT phone and calls an agency he used to work for. Even though the lady who answers the call mentions that he's retired, Adam says he only called to get the details of the crime group that scammed Eloise. After a while, he eventually gets an update, which points him to a company named United Data Group. Following this, Adam heads there with 2 gas cans which he plans to use to burn the place down. As he gets there, Adam wastes no time in beating up the security guys before warning all the employees at the call center to leave before he burns the place.
Now we're gonna burn this place to the ground.
Even though they're initially hesitant at first, they all start to troop out when they see that Adam is serious. While he's preparing to initiate an explosion, Mickey suddenly shows up with some guards to scare off Adam, but he beats them up. He then scolds Mickey for being part of a group that scams old people for fun. Shortly after, as he walks out of the building, the whole place blows up, but no one gets hurt. Mickey then calls his boss, Derek Danforth, to complain about what happened. Derek sounds angry to hear this, and as he insists that he wants to know who burned down his investment, Mickey says all the cameras in the building got destroyed in the fire.
And he burns the place to the ground.
Following this, Derek meets his head of security, Wallace, to ask for his help. Wallace is an ex-CIA director who now works for Derek at the request of his mother. However, Wallace prefers to stay out of Derek's business, so Derek eventually tells Mickey to track down all their latest victims so they can find Adam. Elsewhere, Verona's partner, Matt, informs her of what happened at United Data Group, so she immediately rushes to the scene. After asking questions around, the FBI agents then discover that an unknown man carrying 2 gas cans blew up the building. Elsewhere, Mickey takes a group of guys to check the houses of the last few victims of their scam. As they get to Eloise's house, they see Adam just after he's done tending to his beehive. Since the plan is to kill him, they initially destroy his beehive before following him to his workshop to finish the job. Unfortunately for them, Adam is already aware of their presence, and he kills all of them except Mickey, who gets his fingers chopped off. A while later, Matt gets a call informing him that Eloise's house is on fire. He immediately informs Verona about this, and they head to the scene together. When they arrive, they see some IDs belonging to United Data Group employees. As they then try to find a link between the two fires, Matt suggests that Adam might be involved because he's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Mickey calls Derek to warn him about Adam, who he calls a beekeeper. Derek is shocked to hear everything that has happened, but before Mickey gives him more details, Adam shows up and takes him out of the car before getting him killed by tying him to his moving truck, which eventually enters the ocean. Following this, Adam then takes Mickey's phone and warns Derek that he's coming for him.
You have the pleasure of speaking with.
Elsewhere, Verona looks at all the information she has gotten so far, and she tells Matt that she thinks United Data Group is just one of the call centers that Mickey runs. As she mentions that there might be a main office, Matt commends her for her brilliant work. He also mentions that, after checking through their database, it almost seems like Adam doesn't exist. As this sounds confusing to Verona, Matt says he's likely part of a classified program, because they know he used to be in the military. Shortly after, Matt then receives a call informing him that Mickey's dead body has been found. Meanwhile, Derek tells Wallace about the problem he has gotten himself into. As he mentions that Adam is a beekeeper, Wallace sounds scared and tells Derek that he has messed with the wrong person. Derek doesn't get this, but Wallace only ends up scolding him for always misbehaving since he started his data mining company.
But I chose this job as a favor to your mother.
After a while, they eventually end their conversation, and Wallace gets a call from Derek's mom, who turns out to be the President of the United States. During the call, President Danforth begs Wallace to help Derek clear his mess, and even though he initially says he's not sure how he'll do it, he finally agrees after being offered a seat on the board of a big company. Following this, Wallace calls the CIA director to inform her that a beekeeper is trying to kill Derek. Even though she initially says there's nothing she can do about Adam because he's retired, she eventually mentions that the current beekeeper will go after him. Shortly after, the current beekeeper, Anisette, attacks Adam while he's at a gas station. Even though she immediately tries to kill him, Adam finishes her off before burning the gas station. This information soon gets to the CIA director, and she tells Wallace that all the other members of the Beekeeper program have decided to remain neutral after what Adam did to Anisette. This gets Wallace pissed, so he hires former SEAL Team soldiers to help with getting Adam killed. While briefing these soldiers, Wallace finally mentions that Adam is part of a beekeeper program that was introduced many years ago. He adds that beekeepers are given the free will to act as they want as long as it's meant to protect the United States and keep the system safe. Even though the soldiers feel confident about their chances, Wallace warns them that it won't be easy. Elsewhere, Matt and Verona are informed of the burnt gas station, so they immediately leave to check out the place. When they get there, they find Anisette's truck and wonder how she managed to get the sophisticated system attached to it. Verona also finds a book for beekeepers inside the truck, and this makes her connect the dots that Adam and Anisette are alike. Since they also discover that Anisette has no public records, Matt and Verona believe Anisette is part of the same program as Adam. Meanwhile, Adam goes to an old stash of weapons to get everything he needs to take down Derek. As Verona and Matt then return to work, they get a call informing them that the deputy director of the FBI, Prigg, is coming to see them. Shortly after, Prigg arrives and gets briefed on the latest about Adam. During the briefing, Verona mentions that she thinks Adam is part of a classified beekeeper program, but Prigg tells her to stick to what she knows. Following this, she mentions that she believes Adam's next target is a company named 9-Star United. She adds that the company currently controls several call centers, which are all part of the same group. Prigg then asks what she needs for the mission, and as Verona lists a couple of things, including a SWAT team, Prigg approves her request. A while later, an FBI SWAT team, led by an agent named Kim, is assigned to secure the 9-Star United building. As they enter the building, they meet Wallace's mercenaries, who mention that they've been hired to protect the place. Since they can no longer go in, Kim takes his men out to strategize how to get Adam if he shows up.
Sure there's no back entrances into this place.
Meanwhile, the leader of Wallace's mercenaries, Pettis, takes his men to the part of the building where a man named Rico is running another call center for Derek. Pettis tells Rico to let everyone vacate the premises, but he says he can't. As Pettis still insists, Rico then calls Derek to seek his permission first. Outside the building, Kim and his men are still discussing how they can go in when Adam suddenly shows up beside them, saying he won't burn the place this time. He adds that he won't hurt anyone if they just let him in. Kim immediately orders his men to arrest Adam, but he beats them up before entering the building. Meanwhile, Derek refuses to stop his operation despite Pettis' recommendation. Following this, Pettis takes his men out, but they're unaware that Adam is now in the call center. As he then reveals himself to the employees, he tells them to leave if they don't want to die. Rico tries to keep everyone calm, but before Adam can hurt him, Pettis and his men return to the call center. Unfortunately, Adam beats them up and kills Pettis too. Shortly after, Verona arrives at the building and gets an update on what's happening inside. Despite how risky it is, she decides to go in with Matt. Just then, Adam destroys the elevator before going to meet Rico to ask for his boss's name. Rico refuses to give up anything, though he mentions that his boss is untouchable. Rico also says he has never hurt anyone, but Adam shows him Eloise's picture and explains how she died. As Adam then tortures him, Rico finally reveals that Derek is his boss. This leaves Adam shocked, but he still tells Rico that no one is untouchable. Almost immediately, Verona enters the room and calls Adam out from where he's hiding. However, when he responds, he tells her that Rico is responsible for her mom's death. Verona says that even though she believes him, she still has a job to do because the law is there to deal with people like Rico. Adam then mentions that as a beekeeper, he's there to fight for justice when the system fails.
That man is directly responsible for your mother's death.
As he finally escapes, Matt tries to shoot him, but Adam overpowers him. Before he then kills Matt, the FBI agent pleads for his life, so Adam spares him. Shortly after, he then leaves the building while Verona and Matt return to the call center to get Rico arrested. While they're then looking around, Verona and Matt find a picture of Derek partying with Rico. As this suggests that Derek might be running the whole scheme, Verona and Matt are left shocked since it could all lead back to the president. Elsewhere, Wallace gets a text informing him that Pettis and his men are dead. This gets him scared, and he suggests to Derek that the only way to get him protected is to call his mom and stay close to her. Derek thinks this is a good plan, so he calls his mom, and she agrees to let him stay with her at her beach house. Meanwhile, Verona and Matt inform Prig that they believe Derek's company, formerly led by his mom, has been orchestrating the scams. Prig is shocked to hear this, especially because President Danforth's campaign was self-funded, but Verona also confirms that the campaign money wasn't clean. She then adds that she thinks Adam is following the money and trying to be a queen slayer. As Prig doesn't seem to get this, Verona mentions that according to the book for beekeepers, a queen slayer is a part of the hive that kills the queen when she produces a defective offspring. Since it is believed that Derek is the defective offspring of the president, Verona says Adam's next target is Danforth. With this, Prig says she's free to do all she wants as long as she gets Adam.
You have a blank check. Good luck.
Shortly after, Verona and Matt head to the president's beach house to be part of a private detail meant to prevent Adam's next attack. Elsewhere, Wallace looks uncomfortable at the sight of the Secret Service at the beach house. Derek has no problem with them, but Wallace thinks they won't be able to stop Adam. Since this is the case, Wallace hires the services of a man named Lazarus, who claims to have once killed a beekeeper, though he shows his broken leg as proof of how difficult the battle was. As Wallace still seems worried, Lazarus tells him that his crew will soon arrive to help him take down Adam if he shows up. Meanwhile, Adam impressively sneaks into the beach house and blends in perfectly after killing a Secret Service agent and stealing his uniform. Almost immediately, President Danforth arrives, and as she sees a heavy security presence at the house, she looks confused and complains to Wallace, who also seems nervous. Shortly after, Adam puts a bomb on one of the cars at the house. He then changes his clothes before entering the main building and joining the party inside. Lazarus's crew also arrives, and they seem really excited to get to work. A while later, Johnson arrives at the beach house and confronts Danforth about her son's dealings. Since she doesn't understand what's happening, she immediately calls Derek to join her in her office. When they get there, Derek sees Prig and looks nervous, especially as the FBI deputy director suddenly asks if he knows United Data Group. Derek says it's a company he invested in, but as Prig also asks about 9-Star United, the president's son gets really uncomfortable as he doesn't know what to say. Meanwhile, Adam continues to move around the house until Verona sees him. She then alerts everyone to go after him. Adam quickly makes his way outside, but unfortunately, Lazarus is able to stop him from going too far. As he then decides to kill Adam, Matt and Verona are shocked by this because the beekeeper isn't even armed. Despite this, Lazarus says it doesn't matter, and as he gets the go-ahead from Wallace, he decides to take the shot.
As long as this motherfucker's breathing, he's armed.
However, Adam immediately sets off the bomb and uses this as a perfect distraction to fight his way back until he returns inside the house. There, President Danforth starts to blame Derek for what's happening. Derek says he only wanted to help his mom win the election, but Danforth says she didn't need his money because they were already rich. He then confesses that he actually used CIA software to hunt the money he stole. Prig is shocked to hear this, but Derek tells him to pretend not to have heard anything. He also tells Danforth that he had to do what was necessary to ensure his mom won the election. As he then asks what she'll do, Danforth says she'll tell the truth, but Derek can't believe this. Elsewhere, Adam continues to kill all the agents inside the house. Before he finally gets to where the president is, Lazarus shows up and attacks him. Unfortunately, Lazarus manages to stab Adam a few times. However, Adam eventually kills him. As he then tends to his wounds, Wallace tries to stop him from entering the president's office, but Adam breaks one of the man's fingers. After which he prepares to blow up the door. Almost immediately, Derek realizes that he's in big trouble, so he reaches for a gun in the drawer and kills Prig before his mom can stop him. Just then, Adam blows up the door and enters the office, but he's also followed by Matt and Verona, who tell him to drop his gun. Adam refuses to do this, and as he stares at Verona, he tells her that she can either decide to work for the law or for justice. As everyone watches Adam's next move, Derek decides to kill his mom before anything happens to him. Luckily, Adam kills him first, and as Verona is stunned by what just happened, the beekeeper escapes through a nearby window onto the beach. Verona eventually gets over what happened and tries to kill him, but she eventually changes her mind and lets him leave freely. Following this, Adam then picks up his underwater gear and leaves the scene.